about your organization and its impact on society so far?
Sure. So Donation Match was created 10 years ago because I personally had experienced a lot of difficulties in connecting my own business with nonprofits and events that they were holding. And really, between then and now, we've facilitated about $76 million worth of in-kind donations to nonprofits and their events. This year alone, despite everything that's happened this spring, we were still able to help companies distribute $10 million worth of product to about 7,400 events.
You had mentioned something about your history with working with franchises. Could you expand on how that experience led you into Donation Match?
Yes, definitely. So in 2000, I became a franchisee of Curves Fitness Centers, and I don't know how familiar you are with them, but that was when they were just starting to grow in California, and there were 65 clubs here in San Diego County alone at its height. And my experience with them was being one of the leaders that formed our very first franchise co-op in 2001, and we're really looking for women's charities and organizations that we could help, especially with our growing membership. And a lot of our members wanted to give back to their communities, and we had a lot of success with our annual food drives and wanted to expand on that. That led to my volunteering with the American Heart Association and the Go Red for Women luncheon, which was actually my first experience ever with a silent auction and all the fun that comes with it, but also the challenges of how to really let those kinds of opportunities be known to companies who want to participate and really, engage with specific charities, the event audiences, and be able to donate in kind so that they can actually support more organizations, but not necessarily have to have the cash to do it.
With the toll that COVID has taken on most businesses and nonprofits in some way, how has Donation Match helped clients maintain momentum?
That's a very good question. So, as you know, a lot of businesses have been impacted financially. Even operationally, some of our clients can't be open at this time, while others are open and available. And it really creates a lot of confusion, for the general population, of course, during this time, but also to nonprofits and who are still perhaps fundraising, still have missions that they're working towards. Some of them have greater needs now because they have more populations to serve than they did before. And so what we've been able to do actually is not only alleviate some of the challenges for the companies that have had to pause and pull back, but also enable the ones that are able to donate still stay active. And really specifically, I'm talking about places like Moonlight Stage Productions in Vista. At first they thought their season would be cut in half maybe, or just shortened. Unfortunately, they ended up having to cancel the entire season. And it was a big anniversary year too, which is even harder. So to assist them and others like them who have had that kind of a setback, our system actually was able to take all of the work of notifying their donors, of adjusting the donations they had given for this season off of their plate. We were able to basically extend anything they had donated for this season up through next year and update all their assets to make it pretty seamless for them. That's happened to some amusement parks as well, to other theaters, museums. There are a lot of brick and mortar venues that have donated and have had to extend the expiration dates for those reasons. Even for nonprofits who are still fundraising, I think a lot of them are going to the same donors they used to and finding the doors either literally closed or figuratively. And that creates a bit of a harder situation for them because then they don't know where they can turn. And honestly, I've heard a lot of them feel bad asking. because they really don't know who's still open to it, who still wants to donate even, or is more motivated to, and who really can't. And that actually, that's something our system is very good at, in that a company who is willing can keep their account open, visible. They can still respond to requests the way that they want to. And if they can't, they have the option to temporarily hide what they have if they have to, which has been the case of some who have donated quite a bit and then realize that there's going to be a little bit of an onslaught once all of those are redeemed, I think, and they just need to assess the situation a little better. So sadly, we have seen some donations get pulled back a little bit, not permanently, but temporarily. But just having this type of it's almost like a third-party mediator in a way, be able to mitigate a lot of that. I've been told is alleviating a lot of the individual follow-ups that normally would have needed to happen.
Just take me through quickly, kind of a layman's terms understanding of how, let's say, a business gets started with donation match.
Sure. Companies that typically use donation match fall into one of two different mindsets. One is that they're very willing to donate, but either feel like they don't have enough visibility in their communities or among their target markets to receive a lot of donation requests. They do tend to be fairly generous and feel like they can be more, but really aren't reaching the capacity that they want. Another, which tends to be a little more common for the ones who really feel a pain with this, is the types of companies who do receive a lot of requests. Some marketing managers have hundreds to thousands of letters on their desks or in their email inboxes every month or every year, and which is too much for them to handle in addition to all their other responsibilities. But rather than closing that door, thankfully, they need a solution that can help them do the vetting, help them do really a little bit of the sorting of the kinds of organizations that they would rather focus on, or the types of events perhaps sometimes that they feel like they have more success with, and really help them drill down into being able to receive requests from more of those types of organizations and events that help them. For the most part, the types of donations that are distributed through Donation Match are a company's own products or gift certificates for their own services. So, $50, $100 gift certificate to a restaurant, or spa treatment, or tickets to an amusement park, or hotel stay.
With that.
Exactly, yeah. Yes. So they're designed to help nonprofits fundraise, which thankfully is still happening virtually now.
Yes.
But I think a lot of nonprofits had already started moving towards managing their auctions with software, and so this, being in a situation like this where you're not able to meet in person isn't as difficult to transition when that's already set up.
Since March of 2020, how has your organization, your company, pivoted somewhat to help those, let's say, nonprofits who might not have the means right now to use your service?
Sure. So our service starts out as free. So there shouldn't be any nonprofit that doesn't have the means to allow us to help them, really. And really, for the most part, our platform, it works like a dating site. So we have companies, they of course can set their own parameters about the types of organizations or events they're willing to help, and nonprofits then can see who is willing to help them when they're looking. But what we have done since March is that we were primarily facilitating event donations, so things that typically showed up in fundraising auctions, raffles, even gift bags. Up to this point, because that was the challenge that many of the companies, including myself, had at the beginning. But of course, as events, even though a lot of events went virtual, I would say still about 80% of the events that were in our system either were postponed or canceled. Much more postponed, thankfully, but they just weren't happening when we thought they would in the spring. And because of that, I think that actually causes quite a ripple effect. You don't quite realize it until you're there, but it causes a ripple effect even in the consumer packaged goods world, where if people aren't meeting together, there are actually a lot of event services and product sampling and things that are supposed to happen for which there's inventory reserved that isn't happening. And so in realizing that with some clients of ours and new ones that approached us during this time, we actually began working on helping manually at first these brands be able to distribute their products to, a lot of them wanted healthcare organizations, first responders, and people who are really on the front lines. So we were able to help companies like Super Coffee and 8 Greens, Tulua, be able to essentially drop off their products for the doctors, the support staff, all those to enjoy while at work. And because of that, and really learning from what we were doing manually, we're just about to launch a more permanent fixture in our system to enable companies to donate products to organizations that aren't holding events. So it's going to be essentially either temporary or year-round types of donations, and I'm thinking that it would be great to eventually have products that can help, the homeless and, hygiene products. And, there are a lot of companies that just have irregular inventory, and I see it given away once in a while in really strange ways, and I feel like this could be a solution to help them as well. And it's something that I know the nonprofits have actually wanted for a while, and I think this COVID just gave us a little more reason to make it real, because we have the resources and we have the users on both sides.
If someone's watching today
Mm-hmm.
and they're unsure of your organization, if your organization's a good fit for helping them, do you have any advice to help them decide?
Yes. So our platform, again, is largely free. So we didn't want that to be a barrier for us to be able to assist. And that's not anything new with COVID. That has always been the case. I think I would say, you would either fall on the giving or the receiving sides, right? And so there are ways to, qualify yourselves. On the giving side, we do primarily assist with in-kind donations, which is basically not cash. So if you're a consumer-facing business and you feel the need to help or the desire to help your community, and perhaps, you may not have the budget to donate money outright, but you know that what you provide in your business, it can be beneficial. I think whether it's helping nonprofits fundraise with it because they can leverage what you have and sell it in a way, auction it off and such, or if you have something that you can full on donate as a product for programs, I think it would be worthwhile to at least talk to us, and explore that. But it's actually very simple to create a profile in our system, create a profile and some, preliminary filters for who you might want to connect with, and just see what bubbles up. It's very simple that way. But, I think we're a great place for companies that want to give. It doesn't have to be a lot, and it's very flexible. For nonprofits, it's a bit more of a no-brainer, where if you're seeking donations for an event or for program usage, it's a great place to at least put your profile in there, let people know what you have to offer, and if there are some good fits, they will show up. Here in San Diego, we have quite a few nice businesses that love to support, and it still can during this time. So I think one thing that really makes Donation Match stand out in terms of helping companies distribute their donations is that there are services, and there can be a lot of red tape when you work with specific agencies or organizations that serve as mediators or aggregators sometimes of donations, and some of those types of services even have minimums. They want truckloads, they want pallets, they don't want boxes or cases. 1,000 of something, too few. They don't want to deal with it. And what's different about our platform is that because we are a direct-to-organization platform, companies that want to give are able to post what they have in whatever quantity it is. We've had one of the most unique donations we've ever had in our system. I still think about them. Was Fireplace Mall had these giant copper kettles. And I think, being in California, we don't have a lot of fireplaces, or we don't use them a lot. But they were beautiful and large, and I can't remember really. They may have had like 20 of them. Probably some extra inventory. Maybe they had a newer model, but things like that were very valuable to organizations to be able to auction off and use. They were obviously very impactful, to see in auctions too. We got a lot of positive feedback about about them specifically, but it was it's things like that we're happy to facilitate and enable companies to give, whether it's meals, whether it's gift certificates here and there, maybe it's cases or kegs of beer, and I think being here in San Diego, I think a lot of companies and business owners and marketers might realize that there are companies that have grown specifically through giving things away. Stone Brewing is one very famous example. And Greg Cook loves to say that he has never spent a penny on advertising and marketing. They just keep giving beer away, and it speaks for itself. Their generosity is very visible in the community. They give merchandise away, things like that. And so it's those, you don't necessarily have to give to the extent they do, because they obviously have more capacity now, but of course they've grown to that capacity by doing things the way they do. And I feel like every company has that ability, but you start where you are. And if you can engage with people in a very heart-centered, authentic way, in a very giving way, people will feel it. The affinity for your brand grows.